Fraternity, in which the governing principle of Plato's ideal state was the governing principle of one real state. Aristotle emphasized Aristotle's emphasis on fatherhood in the family corresponds just as the antithesis of Aristotle and Plato incarnates the battle of fatherhood against brotherhood. So does the antithesis Athens versus Sparta, and Sparta is a constellation in the horoscope of Western culture as fixed, as recurrent. According to the current patriarchal orthodoxy, Sparta is a land-holding aristocracy, and the Great War is between progressive, democratic, and commercial Athens and reactionary, aristocratic, and agrarian Sparta. The truth is that the indispensable basis for the land-holding aristocracy, the house and land-holding patriarchal family, is lacking at Sparta. Calange, with a candor and clarity not imitated by his followers, admits that his theoretical construction is not applied to Sparta. At the time of the Dorian invasion, he says, the old rule of the gens had already disappeared. We no longer distinguish among them the ancient organization of the family. We no longer find traces of the patriarchal government or vestiges of the religious nobility of a hereditary clientship. We see only warriors, all equal under a king. Warriors, all equal, is a fraternal organization. The Spartan educational system sent the boys away from home at the age of 7 into the wilderness to be initiated in Boy Scout or Wolf Cub packs, in which each boy lived, ate, and slept together with his coeval. The adult military organization prolonged these groupings and the principle of being boys together into a total way of life. The mess halls, where the Spartan warriors lived, ate, and slept together with his comrades, correspond to the primitive institution of men's house. Spartan society was a hierarchy not based on either property or blood, but on the graduated degrees of initiation into secret societies. Thucydides named secrecy as the distinctive principle of their polity. The men's house, the house, and the home are mutually antagonistic institutions. The Spartan bridegroom had to spend the night of his marriage in the men's house and could visit his wife only if he could slip away from his comrades by stealth. One night, expect the homosexual emphasis of fraternal organization to degrade the status of women. But it was in Sparta that women had freedom and dignity, while the women of Athenian patriarchal families were degraded into non-entity. The fraternal style of sexual separation maintains a relation of mutuality with equality in exchange between the sexes. While the man spent his life in the men's house, the Spartan woman was mistress of the household. The fraternal style of sexual separation naturally resulted in a matriarchy of the household as well as a sexual morality free from patriarchal jealousies. It is in this sense that we could understand and should understand the claim that there was no adultery at Sparta. The energy which builds fraternal organization is a rebellion against the family and the father. It is youthful energy. Ortega y Gasset can see that the primeval political association is the secret society, not the gray-bearded Senate, because he is willing to acknowledge the youthful or sportive or playful origins of the state. It was not, he says, the worker, the intellectual, the priest, properly speaking, or the businessman who started the great political process, but youth preoccupied with women and resolved to fight. The lover, the warrior, the athlete, the ideology of utilitarianism, which in the origin of the state and everywhere in life sees only obedience to necessity and the satisfaction of elementary vital needs, is senile, and politics sees only senatorial activity. Youthful energy has that exuberance which overflows the confines of elementary necessity and rises above labor into the higher, or is it lower, sphere of play. Academic orthodoxy, senile and senatorial, is against fraternities, against Sparta, against Plato, against athletics, against play, against sex, against youth. The fate of the sons, said Freud, was a hard one. If they excited the father's jealousy, they were killed or castrated or driven out. The voice of the ancient bard saying, "Youth of delight, come hither and see the opening morn, image of truth newborn. Folly is an endless maze, tangled roots perplex her ways. How many have fallen there? They stumble all night over the bones of the dead, and feel they know not what but care, and wish to lead others when they should be led." Youth preoccupied with women and resolved to fight. Politics a juvenile delinquency. Ortega is thinking, as Freud did also, of the connection between fraternal organization and exogamy, conceived as form of marriage by capture. The band of brothers feel the incest taboo and the lure of strange women and adopt military organization, gang organization, for purpose of rape. Politics as gangbang. The game is juvenile, or as Freud would say, infantile and deadly serious. It is the game of Eros and Thanatos, of sex and war. To know the reality of politics, we have to believe the myth, to believe what we were told as children. Roman history is the story of the brothers Romulus and Remus, the sons of the she-wolf, leaders of gangs of juvenile delinquents, who achieved the rape of the Sabine women, and whose festival is the Lupercalia, of which youth naked accepts the girdles made from the skins of victims ran wild through the city, striking those whom they met, especially women, with strips of goat skin, a season fit for king killing. Politics made out of delinquency. All brothers are brothers in crime. all equal as sinners to expand the population. Romulus followed the model of other founders of cities. He opened an asylum for fugitives. The mob that came in was the first step to the city's future greatness. The remission of sins, which makes us citizens of the heavenly city, was faintly adumbrated when Romulus gathered the first citizens of his city by providing a sanctuary and immunity for a multitude of criminals. The heavenly city is also an asylum, or as social contract thinkers see it, the social contract establishes corporate virtue as an asylum for individual sin, making a moral society out of immoral men, men whose natural inclinations, according to Hobbes and Freud, is murder. The social contract establishes the general will to counter the will of each, that general will which Freud called the superego. The superego is supra-individual. Even as the crime, so also conscience is collective. The foundation of the fraternity or state is itself a crime, or rather the primal crime. The brothers club together in a criminal conspiracy. Society was now based on the complicity in the common crime. Freud says that the sense of guilt can be allayed only by the solidarity of the participants. Actually, it is the common crime that creates solidarity. Athenian political clubs, which were organized as secret societies, guaranteed their own solidarity by common participation in religious sacrilege, as in the parody of Eleusinian mysteries as Black Mass, or the mutilations of Hermes. The social contract in the form of sworn covenant is itself such a socializing sacrilege. On the Day of Atonement, the Jews, the people of the covenant, repent and cancel all the covenants they will make in the coming year until the next Day of Atonement. The people of the covenant know that covenants are crimes. In origin and in essence, the oath is a curse. An oath is a conditional curse, a suspended sentence. The oath mobilizes the powers of punishment by being itself a crime, a sin, a sacrilege. Wherefore it is written, swear not at all. An oath lays violent hands upon the power invoked, and so is blasphemy, or taking the divine name in vain. Thus every oath plays with fire is an ordeal. Men swear by the greater, that is to say, the Father. Every oath is a sacred sacrilege. Like the primal crime itself, in ancient Syracuse, the official oath they call the Great Oath. It was taken dressed in purple and wielded in fiery bolts. A sacrilegious usurpation of the attributes of the All-Father Zeus. Brotherhood is always a quarrel over the paternal inheritance. After the killing of the father, a time followed when the brothers quarreled among themselves for succession. Justice is the solution and the perpetuation of the quarrel. As Heraclitus said, justice is the strife. Equals or rivals, and the dear love of comrades is made out of mutual jealousy and hate. Observation has directed my attention to several cases in which during early childhood feelings of jealousy derived from the mother complex and of the very great intensity arose against rivals, usually older brothers. This jealousy led to an exceedingly hostile, aggressive attitude against brothers or sisters, which might culminate in actual death wishes, but which could not survive further development under the influence of training, and certainly not uninfluenced also by their own constant powerlessness. These wishes yielded to repression and to transformation, so that the rivals of earlier period became the first homosexual love objects. Brotherhood is a gonal relation between competing brothers. The rule of law is the rule of force. Justice is strife, and in the arbitrament of battle, Ares is just. In the ordeal of battle is a divine judgment. Rome won world rule by ordeal and hence by right. It was by divine will that the Romans prevailed in the athletic contest for world rule. Jehovah is a man of war, deeds of justice hath he loved. The question could only be decided by an appeal to heaven, that is, by war and violence. The violence vindicates. The fraternal principle of equality, the paternal principle of domination, division of power, federation or monopoly, coordination or subordination, reciprocity, interdependence, or sovereign self-sufficiency. Sinful man hates the equality of all men under God, and as though he were God, loves to impose his sovereignty on his fellow men. Fraternity was the relation between the elements in pre-Socratic philosophy. Those antagonistic pairs, the hot and the cold, the moist and the dry, and then Anaxagoras brought back the paternal and the monarchical principle of nous, and at the same time Anaxagoras' friend Pericles, nous in action, sought to establish a monarchy among the Greek cities. In the archaic age, the age of the pre-Socratic philosophers, the 6th century BC, the century of Spartan hegemony, the relation between cities were fraternal and agonal, a concordia discourse, out of opposites the fairest harmony, like the balance of power in the old brotherhood of nations, or concerts of Europe, in which rank said, the union of all must rest upon the independence of each single one. Out of separation and independent development will emerge true harmony. The old agonal warfare was between brothers, conducted according to rules, limited in objective and limited in time, in a necessary alternation of peace and war. The brothers need each other in order to fight against another day. The new warfare is total. It seeks an end to war, an end to brotherhood. The quarrel is over the paternal inheritance. Fraternities are moieties, or segments into which the body of the world is divided, giving to each a property, a lot, a moria, a system of provinces marked off by boundaries, fenced by taboo. The myth represents totemism as what remains of the diminished totality, or what results from a separating out from each other of what was previously united. Here is the origin of the division of labor, something that Freud did not know. The division of labor established by distributing the parts among the clans as their totems. The plan or order which was carried out when all the people camped together was that of the wide circle. The tribal circle was called Hunga and typified the cosmos. The circle was divided into two great divisions or halves. The exogamous freight trees, the one called Inchta Shunda, represented the heavens, and the other, the Hunzga Shinu, denoted the earth. Each of the true great divisions was subdivided into clans, and each of the 10 clans had its particular symbol, representing a cosmic force, one of the various forms of life on the earth. That is why the body politic, for example, in ancient Athens, Rome, or Israel, is composed of artificial symmetrical parts. According to Aristotle's scheme, rejected as artificial by the modern revisionists, the Athenians were distributed into 4 tribes corresponding to seasons, each of the 4 tribes being divided into 3 parts, so that there would be altogether 12, corresponding to months called trities or freight trees, with 30 clans going to make up each freight tree, as days make up the months. In Rome, a mystic interplay between 3 and 10 produced 3 tribes, 30 curies, the Roman equivalent of Greek freight tree, 300 gentes, 3,000 households, each supplying 1 foot soldier. It is a military organization, and when assembled, it consists of and votes by groups, not individuals. The quarrel is over the paternal inheritance, but the paternal inheritance is the paternal body itself. All partook of his body, says Freud. The body of the world, which is broken into pieces, is the body of God, as the Christians say. Others bequeath to their hearers their property, but he bequeathed himself, that is, the flesh and blood of the body. The fall is the fall into division of the one universal man. Civil strife is dismemberment. Oh, let me teach you how to knit again this scattered corn into one mutual sheaf, these broken limbs again into one body. The body of the world, which is broken into pieces, is the body of God. This is Freud's cannibalistic act. The native bear, when slain, is thus divided. The slayer has left ribs, the father the right hind leg, the mother the left hind leg, the elder brother the right forearm, the young brother the left forearm, the elder sister the backbone, the younger the liver, the father's brother the right rib, the mother's brother of the hunter a piece of the flank. The various totems were only the name given to the different parts, the great spirit body. The body is divided equally. No one came away from the feast without his fair share. The Thystean banquet. The Father shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers. Fraternities are moieties, or segments of one body, but the segments are sexes. The prototype of all opposition or contrariety is the contrariety of sex. Fraternal organization is a separating out of opposites, which must forever seek each other out. Contrary and complementary halves, sexes, the 2 exogamous sections are opposed, as male and female. Since the male belonging to the one freight tree must marry a female from the other, this contrariety is reconciled in marriage, the union of opposites. The marriage combines eros and thanatos, love and strife. Division, duality, 2 sexes in a sense. There are always 2 brothers. There is in every act a sociological dualism. 2 parties who exchange services and functions, each watching over the measure of fulfillment and the fairness of contact of the others. Dual organization. There is something here that Freud did not know. There are always two fraternities, not one. And exogamy is not marriage, but capture. But part of the ritual of Eros and Thanatos in the dual organization. Totemism is not based on an analogy between man and animal, but on an analogy between the differentiation of men into fraternities and the differentiation of animals into species. Levi-Strauss quotes Bergson. When therefore they, the members of two clans, declare that they are two species of animals, it is not on the animality but on the duality that they place the stress. The resemblances presupposed by so-called totemic systems is between two systems of differences. Animals as a kingdom divided into species, and men as a kind divided into segments which are each one a species. Dual organization is sexual organization. The structural principle is the union of opposites. The most general model and the most systemic application. It is to be found perhaps in China, in the opposition of the two principles of yang and yin, as male and female, day and night, summer and winter, the union of which results in an organized totality, such as the conjugal pair, the day or the year, the aegon contest between winter and summer, night and day, is coitus. The efficacy of the ceremonies seemed to depend upon the participants confronting each other face to face and performing alternate gestures. There must sit a party of hosts, here a party of guests. If some were supposed to represent the sun, heat, and summer, the principal yang, others embody the moon, cold, winter, and the principal yin. The seasons were imagined as belonging to one or the other sex. Nevertheless, the actors were all men. The prototype of all opposition or contrariety is sex. The prototype of the division into two sexes is the separation of earth and sky. Mother Earth and Father Sky, the primal parents. The primal one body that was divided among the brothers was parental and bisexual. The two become one flesh. The parents in coitus. In psychoanalytical jargon, the combined object. The primal crime is also the crime of Kronos, the youngest of the brothers, severing the member that joined Father Sky and Mother Earth. The fraternity comes together on a contract or covenant when they cut the calf in twain and pass between the parts thereof. It was an ancient custom for allies to pass between severed parts, that being enclosed within the sacrifice, they might be the more sacredly united in one body. At this point, we go beyond Freud with Melanie Klein. The body that the brothers partook of was not the body of the father, but the body of the father and the mother combined. In Peter's second hour, my interpretation of the material he had brought had been that he and his brother practiced mutual masturbation 7 months later. When he was 4 years and 4 months old, he told me a long dream. There were 2 pigs in a pigsty, and in his bed too. They ate together in the pigsty. There were also 2 boys in his bed in a boat, but they were quite big, like Uncle G, a grown-up brother of his mother, and E, a girlfriend whom he thought almost grown up. Most of the associations I got for this dream were verbal ones. They show that the pigs represent himself and his brother, and that they're eating meant mutual fellatio, but they also stood for his parents copulating together. It turned out that his sexual relations with his brother were based on an identification with his mother and father, which Peter took the role of each in turn. Compared the case of two brothers, Franz and Gunther, aged 5 and 6. The brothers got on very badly together, but on the whole, Gunther seemed to give way to his younger brother. Analysis was able to trace back their mutual sexual acts as far as the age of about 3.5 and 2.5 respectively, but it is probable that they had begun even earlier. An analysis of the fantasies accompanying the act showed that they not only represented destructive onslaughts upon his younger brother, but that the latter stood for Gunther's father and mother joined in sexual intercourse. Thus, his behavior was, in a sense, an actual enactment, though in a mitigated form, of his sadistic masturbatory fantasies against his parents. The material of the analysis of Finnegan's Wake of world history. The brothers introject the parents in coitus, in a new coitus, a new covenant or coming together, in dual organization, exogamous phratries, between whom there is intercourse and antagonism. The brothers perpetually reenact in their mutual relations what Freud calls the primal scene. Their wrestling is sexual as well as aggressive, in imitation of the parental copulation. Moieties in reciprocal exchange are to each other as male and female, and also as mother and child. We are here in the midst of a society which overcomes its retribution anxiety by a kind of division of labor. The fundamental idea common to all of the tribes is that the men of any totemic group are responsible for the maintenance of the supply of animal or plant which gives its name to the group. Each group by its ceremonial attitude serves as a guarantee for the permanent existence of good objects for the other group. Each group is to the other a breast, but as we know from Melanie Klein, the breast is equated with the penis. Thus, copulation is always oral. One of Melanie Klein's discoveries in the world of the unconscious is the archetypal, primordial, universal fantasy of parental coitus as a process of mutual devouring, oral copulation, or rather cannibalistic, and therefore combining in one act the two Oedipal wishes, parental murder and incest, and including sexual inversion, since the male member is seen as a breast sucked. The contest of coitus is always a funeral feast, or beside a grave. A Christian altar, by the requirements of canon law, should contain relics of the dead. It is always Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 2. The funeral baked meats do coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Freud visions of Melanie Klein's final meet and merge into one consummated S. There are always only two brothers, Romulus and Remus, Cain and Abel, Osiris and Set, and one of them murders the other, or rather they both accuse each other of fratricide and put each other to death for the crime, as the Christian identifies the Jew with Cain for having killed Christ, and accordingly punishes the Jew with crucifixion. The mutual relation of the brothers reenact the primal scene, the cannibalistic intercourse, in the primal crime, the dismemberment. The brothers are brothers to dragons, dragons' seed sown, that comes up as young men armed for the Pyrrhic dance in which they mow each other down. All fraternity is fratricide. Was it, as it must look to a god of crossroads, simply a fortuitous intersection of life paths, loyal to different fibs, or also a rendezvous between accomplices who, in spite of themselves, cannot resist meeting? To remind the other, do both at bottom desire truth of that half of their secret which he would most like to forget, forcing us both for a fraction of a second to remember our victim? Over him I could forget the blood, but for me, he could forget the innocence. The reason for civil war that destroyed the Roman Republic is the one given by Horace. For the reality of politics, we must go to the poet, not to the politicians, and believe the stories we were told as children. The truth is that avenging furies plagued the Romans and the guilt of fratricide ever since the earth was soaked with innocent Remus blood, a curse on his posterity. The fratricide which killed the Roman Republic was only the final fulfillment of the symbolic and attenuated fratricide which had been its life. Roman liberty, the fraternity carved out of the cadaver of the royal despotism, is despotism divided and set forever at war with itself. The imperium of the Republican magistry is the same royal imperium, now subdivided in time, made annual and divided between colleagues. The collegiate principle, says Mommsen, assumed in the case of councils an altogether peculiar form. The supreme power was not entrusted to the two magistrates conjointly, but each council possessed it and exercised it for himself, as fully and wholly as if it had been possessed and exercised by the king. Each of the colleagues was legally at liberty to interfere at any time in the province of the other. When therefore supreme power confronts supreme power, and the one colleague forbade what the other enjoined, the councillor commands neutralized each other. Mommsen thought that the legend of Remus was the etiological reflection of the institution of the double consulate. There is reflection, or rather recurrence, of the archetype in the institution. Remus jumped over the brother's wall, and his brother killed him, saying, "So perish whoever else shall leap over my battlements," as we can see in any playground or in Berlin. As colleague confronts colleague, so also do the constituents order of the Roman Republic. The sovereignty imperium of the magistracy confronts the sovereignty of the people, not on a line of vertical subordination, but on horizontal coordinates. The Roman body politic is not one, but two. Two principles cannot operate except as a corporate, so that, as Mommsen says, law was not primarily, as we conceive it, a command addressed by the sovereign to the community as a whole, but primarily a contract concluded between the constitutive powers of the state by address and counter-address. The schism in the body politic, known as the secession, not rebellion, of the plebs, is only an aggravation of the inherent separation of the constituent others in order. The extraordinary institution to which that succession gave rise, the tribunate of the people with its veto over the acts of magistracy, amounted to legalized and institutionalized civil war. Hence, it was probably used later to bestow republican legality on the actual civil war. In the end, in accordance with Freudian law, the return of the repressed, the murdered father returned and put an end to the quarreling of the brothers. It came to a choice between libertas and pax, omnem potentiam ad unum confedere pacis intufut. Truly, these were sons of Mars or of a she-wolf. Like all good archetypes, the story can also take the form of a comedy. As Karl Marx observed in the 18th century, there is eternal recurrence in history. Events and personalities reappear. On the first occasion, they appear as tragedy, on the second as farce, like the Sartre play after the trilogy of tragedies, or the modern dual organization, the two-party system. Political parties are primitive secret societies. Tammany's wigwam, caucus, mafia, cabal. The deals are still always secret in a smoke-filled room. Political parties are conspiracies to usurp the power of the father, a taking of the sword out of the hand of the sovereign. Political parties are antagonistic fraternities or moieties, a contest between blues and greens in the hippodrome, an agon between leather seller and sausage seller to seduce and subvert old man Demos, an Eskimo drumming contest organized not by agreement on principle but on confusing the issue to win, any primitive ordeal or lottery in which the strife is justice might make right, and the major is the senor parse. It is the tale of Shem and Shan in North America. Bostonians sometimes seem to love violence for its own sake. Over the years, there had developed a rivalry between the south end and the north end of the city. On Pope's Day, November 5th, when parades were held to celebrate the defeat of Guy Fawkes' famous gunpowder plot, the rivalry between the two sections generally broke out in a free-for-all, with stones and barrels, staves, the principal weapons. The two sides even developed a semi-military organization with reorganized leaders, and of late the fighting had become increasingly bloody. In 1764, a child was run over and killed by a wagon bearing an effigy of the Pope, but even this had not stopped the battle. Despite the effort of the militia, the two sides had battered and bruised each other until the South End finally carried the day. When Boston had to face the problem of nullifying the Stamp Act, it was obvious that men who fought so energetically over the effigy of a pope might be employed in a more worthy cause, to dress up as Indians and hold a Boston Tea Party, befitting in the wake of the American history, the foundation legend. The comic wearing of the Indian mask in the Boston Tea Party, or as Tammany's wigwam, is the lighter side of a game, a ritual, the darker side of which is fraternal genocide. Indians are Indian brothers, one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. The lost sheep we came to find, now unappeased ghosts in the unconscious of the white man. This could go on forever. There is eternal recurrence, even on the other side of the wall, in a one-party system. From the statement of the Chinese communists on the Sino-Soviet dispute, it is very, very bad habit of yours thus to put on the airs of the patriarchal party. It is entirely illegitimate. The 1957 Declaration and the 1960 statement clearly state that all communist parties are independent and equal. According to this principle, the relations among fraternal parties should under no circumstance be like the relations between a leading party and the led, and much less like the relation between a patriarchal father and his son. The attitude that Comrade Khrushchev has adopted is patriarchal, arbitrary, and tyrannical. He has in fact treated the relationship between the great Communist Party of the Soviet Union and our party not as one between brothers, but as one between patriarchal father and son.